What's up everyone, John from ARTV. I'm back, sorry for a week away, lots of Thanksgiving festivities, working on year-end list. You guys don't care, you want to see the content. Today I am reviewing the third studio album by R&B star The Weeknd. It's called Starboy, and it's been hyped up for the past couple of months. The title track drop, big success, not quite as successful as some of the stuff on his last album, Beauty Behind the Madness. If you want to see my review of that, you can check it at the end of this video. There's an annotation on screen, or you can click the link in the description down below. It was an album that I didn't find myself coming back to that much at first, but it did grow on me. I ended up buying a CD copy and listening to it more and more. I would play it occasionally in the car and that sort of thing, and I found there to be some, I suppose, beauty in tracks that I didn't necessarily initially see them in, but overall, I can't say that it was an album that really stood out that much to me. It did drag its feet. It was a little bit lengthy for me, and once again with Starboy, we're seeing that issue because it's even a little bit longer, clocking in at about an hour and 10 minutes. We've got 18 songs instead of 14 this time, and yeah, I definitely feel that length. There's tracks that could have easily been cut, there's ones that drag their feet, and there's ones that are just flat out boring compared to some of his older work. And now I'm not one to sit around and compare people to their older work. Obviously The Weeknd is doing stuff more in the pop vein these days, but listening through like stuff like Trilogy, which is a compilation of his 3 early EPs, House of Balloons being my personal favorite, that was his debut mixtape right there. That is something that really just stands out, and I was listening back through Trilogy in preparation for this review, and I was like, you know, Starboy, it's pretty good, you know, Weeknd is doing his thing. I think maybe even better than Beauty Behind the Madness. There's some really catchy stuff here, and then I go back and listen to that, and I just see all of the elements of just rock and kind of like a hazy feel, R&B. It was very moody, melancholy, but also kind of a dominative spirit. I'm not even sure if I said that word. Dominating spirit? My main point is The Weeknd, aka Abel Tesfaye, is doing new things. He's not going to continue to do the same stuff over and over again. He even kind of talks about this in the track Reminder, where he's reminding everyone essentially that, hey, I'm still the pussy slayer, I'm still on the grind, I'm still doing everything that I used to do. It's just that people are doing my old style now. I made all of these trends happen. I'm getting Kids' Choice Awards whenever I made a song about a bag of blow making somebody's face go numb, which is kind of hilarious that he won an award at a kids show for a song about fucking drugs. I mean, if you can't see the hilarosity in that, then Starboy is a new adventure in The Weeknd's discography. There's a lot of new sounds here. He's playing with the 80s. He's getting inspired by stuff like Michael Jackson once again. And even on his track Secrets, there's an interpolation of 2 tracks from the early 80s by, of course, The Romantics, and then we have Tears for Fears. And I like that song. My girlfriend actually pointed out, she was like, we were listening to it in the car, that sounds like an 80s song. What is that? We Googled the lyrics. Boom. There it is, The Romantics, right there in the chorus, and it's actually directly lifted there, so obviously that was credited on the album. But Secrets, listening through it, I was hoping for a little bit more, I guess, in terms of the vocal performance on the chorus. It does stand out. I love the bumping synthesizers. That's something that we get a lot here, a lot of kind of synth pop leaning R&B. It is moody, but at the same time it's very catchy, so that's definitely something that's going to alienate some Weeknd fans as he continues to move more in this poppy direction. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I guess it would be distasteful to some who are more into just the moody atmosphere. Now that's kind of aided by synthesizers, kind of some trap flavors, hi-hats, that sort of thing. They rattle the bass booms on some of these tracks, and that's nothing new, obviously, but we get kind of a weird mixture of the two is what I'm hinting at. We get tracks that are very 80s inspired, like Secrets, Love to Lay, A Lonely Night, which is one that I thought right off the bat was extremely well done and catchy, and then we kind of counterplay that and offset it with ones like the Metro Boomin produced 6 Feet Under, featuring additional vocals from rapper Future. It can just be a bit jarring as we jump back and forth between these different styles. We see, like I said, the more trap leaning stuff, some big beats, some big producers, and then you've obviously got your 80s and even a little bit of 90s worship, I would say, and you take elements of like his regular R&B style, mix it with some indie flavor as well, like the Stargirl Interlude, which I I think is a beautiful track featuring Lana Del Rey. I think her voice, although I'm not a huge fan a lot of the time, fits perfectly here, and I like hearing her with Abel. It sounds fantastic, and she actually does additional vocals on the track Party Monster as well, which, while very predictable, woke up with a girl, I don't even know her name, that whole thing over and over again. I don't know, the glitchiness and just the production style on it, it's catchy, kind of a banger. I can't say that I have hatred towards the track, can't say that it's a favorite of mine either, but it has me bobbing my head, and then, like I said, it's kind of serviceable. It gets the job done, like a lot of Starboy in general. I can't say that I'm going to be having this album on repeat for a long time or anything like that. There were some big disappointments. The Kendrick Lamar verse on Sidewalks, definitely just, once again, kind of a misfire from Kendrick on a guest verse. Did not sink in with me at all. In fact, I don't really care for Sidewalks. It just kind of seemed like a filler track. A lot of the ones towards the end did. I'm looking at the track listing here, and all the way from like Ordinary Life, while I admit that one is pretty catchy, definitely a good beat on it, and I think he did a great job on the vocals. I will say that that's a good one, but right after that, it's where it starts going kind of downhill for me. Nothing Without You was that first one right after that, and it just doesn't really feel like it's that genuine. I don't feel the emotion or connect with that song much at all. All I Know with Future, once again, I already talked about that one, just the repetition there. And the overexposed feel of the song, I feel like that style, that genre that it's trying to blend into and gain airplay or attention in, it's just so overplayed right now, and I'm sick of hearing it. Die For You, once again, is one that I could give two shits about. I don't know how else to describe this song other than this part of the album has me on snooze control. I'm sure Weeknd fans are already mad at me, so why not go ahead and throw myself under the bus again? True Colors, my opinions on that song. It's, it's kind of a flatline one, kind of monotone for me. Come on girl, show me your true colors. Just over and over again, this really kind of up and down irritating vocal performance on this one. I just don't feel like he shines. Obviously, April has a great voice, and we hear that on so many of the songs here. I thought he did a great job unleashing on ones like False Alarm, kind of talking about this party girl lifestyle and drugs and mixing it with like a relationship and things going south. Just a really attention-grabbing track that really sets the mood. And then you've got ones like I already talked about, Reminder, a great moment on the album, Starboy, catchy as hell. It's done nothing but grow on me as the title track on this record. And even moments like I don't love completely, but like Love to Lay and Rockin', two moments that are very, very smooth and catchy, and in fact have grown on me a ton, especially Love to Lay. If you're not snapping your fingers along with that, then there's probably something wrong with you. I mean, looking at it even as a Weeknd song, or just a song in general, if you heard it on the radio, you didn't know who it was, you'd probably be bobbing your head and saying, the song bops. Stack True Colors up next to those, and it's coming in pretty low on the radar there. In fact, it's not even really charting. There's a few songs here that I just don't really have much feeling towards whatsoever. I can't say that there's one song on here that I particularly just hate and feel is an abomination to the Weeknd or just music in general. There's definitely ones that give me a bad taste in my mouth, like All I Know. True Colors, probably my two least favorites right there. But overall, it's a pretty solid album. I can't say that it's anything that I'll necessarily come back to. It's long, it's kind of tedious in parts. There's some catchy melodies, there's some great vocal performances, and there's some excellent production on some of these tracks. I mean, 6 Feet Under, absolute banger. False Alarm, love the throwback. Starboy, great single. I'm praising some of these tracks over and over again, but I have to pay attention to the ones that really just jump out like that to me, because it's kind of inconsistent in the track listing. It kind of goes back and forth. I mean, we do go on win streaks, but then we go like on a long losing streak before we finally get to the one that saves it. I Feel It Coming, featuring Daft Punk. It's one that closes out the album on kind of a positive note. I can't say that it's the best thing for the Weeknd. It almost feels like he's kind of a guest collaborator on their song, but that doesn't make it bad by any means. Starboy isn't an album that's meant to break the mold. It's not one that really sets a new trend. In fact, it borrows from a lot of older styles, even some of his own, and while he's not putting an entirely new spin on anything, there are some good jams here. But overall, I do feel like this album was kind of a disappointment. Once again, with Beauty Behind the Madness, I kind of felt the same way. I wasn't really familiar with that much of the Weeknd's work at that point, but now listening to his entire discography, just preparing for this review, I don't feel like it lands that high. Overall, Starboy for me, a slight recommendation. I mean, there's 18 songs here, and I would say at least probably 10 of them are really enjoyable stuff that you can at least kind of jam out to. I'm gonna go with a 3, maybe even a light 3.5 for Starboy by The Weeknd. Don't forget to drop a like on my review of Starboy today, and subscribe to the channel if you have not, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. If you'd like to see another Weeknd review or a recent video that I did on this channel, click those right below me. Find me on social media over here, linked in the description, and I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.